Okay. Hi, Yasmin and Sophia. Thank you so much for taking a little bit out time out of your schedule to talk about your master's decision, right? We're here. I just want to ask you three quick questions about how you ended up doing the master's that you were doing. So maybe, Yasmin, I start with you and ask you because you already finished your master. Last year, you finished your master. And I ask you, why did you decide to do a master's?
I think the reason I chose to do a master's is because I was pretty fixed on going into academia, and I thought that it would be a good stepping stone in between deciding like what PhD to pick, and if I really wanted to go for a PhD, I thought it was a good place to be while deciding that.
So you felt like, okay, you need to have a
sense.
master's in order to do a PhD. Is that it?
I thought it would be beneficial, but I also thought it was a good place to kind of make sure I did want to stay in this area because the master's I picked was research and application. So I thought it was really relevant to staying in academia and staying in research. And that's where I thought I wanted to be at the end of third year. So yeah.
Okay. So, all right, that touches already on our second question a little bit, but maybe you can, could you tell us, Yasmin, because you both, Sophia and Yasmin, you both did the same masters, right? Could you tell which, like Sophia, maybe you tell us, you're currently doing which master?
It's called Social Cognition Research and Applications at UCL.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, go ahead, please. Sorry.
Yeah, it's basically the closest thing to research in social psychology that you can get at UCL. Yeah, and that's why I picked it as well.
Okay, so you picked it because you were interested in doing something research related with social psychology. What was like? Why do you think why did you decide to do a master? Sorry.
Yeah, like Yasmin, I'd really like to get into research, and I'd like to do a PhD right after this master's. And the easiest way to be likely to get a PhD position is to have a master's degree. So that's why I did it. Before started this master's, I worked for a year, and during this year, I definitely was sure that I wanted to work in academia in the future. So I was already thinking about doing that, but after working for a year, I made the decision that that's the route I want to take. So yeah. That's why.
Okay, that's great. I always recommend all the students to at least leave academia, school, universities for a year. It seems like you did that. You realized, nah, I want to go back. And so you decided to do it. Did you, like both of you, and maybe Yasmin, you can start, like, how did you decide on doing which masters? Was it like, I mean, there's so many masters out there that have some kind of research in the title. Like, how did you decide it has to be this one at UCL?
So I actually knew someone who did a behavior change masters in UCL, and they enjoyed it, and the content that they had seemed to be interesting to me too. But then when I looked, I also found there was social cognition, and it seemed like there was a lot more things that were relevant to what I wanted to do. I feel like behavior change is a good option if you want to be more applied, and social cognition was like good if you wanted to go into academia.
Okay.
So the modules and stuff stood out to me.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So you kind of knew already, you didn't like, so I'm just wondering if I'm a student who's like, oh, I want to get into research. Is there, and it seems like he's like, okay, UCL is a good school. I'm happy to go there. And I had something that interests me and that has research in the title. Is that, Sophia, how about you? Is that somehow summarizing your...
Yeah, kind of. I really wanted to stay in London. I also considered going maybe to a university outside London, but I've never, I wanted to kind of stay here because I've got my network and friends. And then I wanted a good university, and UCL is one of the best for psychology in general. And then I looked at all of the masters, and since I'm more interested in the social psychology aspect of things, this was the most relevant, I think. There's a lot of other courses on more cognitive and decision sciences, or stuff with more neuroscience cognitive decision making, but I thought this one was more relevant for me personally. But yeah, there's a lot of different things if you want to stay in research and relevant masters.
If let's say, I mean, for Sophia, you don't have a PhD position yet. Yasmin has one. If it wouldn't have worked out for you guys, or if it doesn't work out or wouldn't have worked out, I think you understand what I'm trying to say. It's like, what it would be like another, what are maybe some of your fellow students, are they all trying to stay in academia, or are they looking at different job opportunities as well? What is another like professional route, career you can have with a master's like that?
So some of the people I know have gone into research in a more applied sense. So some people are working for behavior insight, like for behavioral insights teams. And I did a little job in What Works as well, which is kind of like applying behavioral research in the education system. So people are doing that kind of thing from the masters too. Most people I see stay in research, but not necessarily in academia.
Okay. No, interesting. Okay.
They're the ones I speak to though, so I might be in an echo chamber a little bit.
Okay. Okay. Sophia, do you like, how's it with your fellow students right now?
Yeah, obviously we're still doing the masters, so I don't really know what they're gonna end up with.
Yes.
But many of them are mature students this year, and they're doing these masters as an addition. They probably, some of them have already a master's degree and have been working for different companies for years, and they just did it out of interest or because they wanted to change their career slightly. Other people that I know would like to start working with organizations and in the future and have some form of they'd like to become consultants in the future. But yeah, I haven't spoken to everyone and not all of them know what to do yet. But I know a lot of them that don't want to be in academia and they're doing this masters regardless.
Okay. So it doesn't have to be, I mean, both of you want to stay in academia, but it doesn't have to be. If you want to do some kind of behavior change, research, social psychology related, then this is a good route, it seems like. Did you, like, I think maybe as a final
There was also
word,
a lot of people in like business and
yes,
so there was also a lot of people that were interested in like business and consumer behavior.
Okay. Yeah, kind of like that.
So that seems to be a thing.
Okay. Yes. I think it's kind of like related to market research, marketing, consumer behavior. I think there's a large overlap. Okay. Interesting. Has a little bit of a touch of behavior economics as well. It sounds like, yes. So, okay. That's very good. Did you, like, as a final, I mean, two things. Did you enjoy your masters? Do you enjoy your masters? And the second question would be anything else you want to tell our students about masters, non-masters, anything you have that you want to say, maybe? Sophia, do you want to start? Do you enjoy the masters?
Yeah. Yes, I'm really enjoying it. I really like the program. I like most of the modules. Yeah, I really like the way they're structured. Obviously now it's all online, but it still feels pretty good. I really like the way the lecturers make you participate during seminars. And yeah, the content overall, if you like social psychology, is really engaging.
And so how difficult is it?
It is quite demanding depending on the modules you choose, I would say. I chose well, you have 2 elective modules to choose each term.
Yes.
I chose computer programming, and maybe going back, I would have not chosen it just because it's really demanding. There's 3 assignments for it that drag on until February, even though it was a first term program. But like, if you enjoy computer programming, then that it's a good choice. But it is quite demanding also because I had statistics and other 2 modules during the first term. This term seems to be a bit more relaxed. So it depends on what you choose for your electives, but the core modules are manageable. Maybe statistics gets a bit intense, but nothing that can be done, I'd say. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yasmin, what's your like verdict on your master? You finished your masters. I think you finished it quite well. What's the verdict? How was it?
I really enjoyed my masters as well. Like some bits more than others, obviously, but that is with everything. My masters was actually first term pre-pandemic and second term in the pandemic. So that made a big difference as well, I think, being thrown in for the second term. But there were some modules that really stood out. There's some lecturers there that I'd still be in contact with because they were so like just awesome, and their research, they were really passionate about their research, and they just really wanted to help you in any way. So like, I think picking elective modules based on something you really enjoy as well makes such a difference. Like, don't pick a module because you think I can do easy in this. Like, pick one that you know that you're going to love. Like I did psychology and risk, and I also did neuroscience and decision making, and I loved both of them. I didn't feel overwhelmed by either of them because I liked them so much. So I think that makes a big difference as well. In regards to how hard it is, I think it's as hard as you make it. Like, you can stay on top of it if you know, behave and don't procrastinate.
Okay. All right. But it says, I think, can I just say, it's fair to say that if you do not enjoy university, if you do not enjoy research, if you do not enjoy kind of like reading about research, learning, then maybe you shouldn't do a master's, especially not that master's, right? Because it's kind of, it's like research psychology focus. Is that a fair statement? Okay. Yeah. Yasmin is thinking a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, fantastic. Yeah. Anything I've missed? Anything you feel like, oh, this students should know before they enter into a master's?
I'd say it's good to consider whether you need a master's overall, because there's a lot of industries where you don't really need one and you don't have any advantage over other people if you have it. So maybe before getting into a master's and doing one just for the sake of it, I'd research whether my career path actually requires one. And if they don't, and you still want to do one, then that's fine. But it can be some form of waste of time,
Yes.
and a lot of
Money.
resources, like your effort and money and time. If it's not needed and you might not enjoy it, then maybe it's better not to do it. But if it's something you really enjoy or that might be useful for you, then yes.
Okay, that's a nice finishing sentence statement. Thank you so much for taking time. Really appreciate it. And yes, talk to both of you soon.